These 10 months have literally changed my life.
To have a global network, especially in this last year.
It's been an amazing 10 months.
It was not a journey that only one person can walk, but it had to take all of us together as a team.
Like we've passed through seasons together.
The feeling of belonging, particularly in a large group.
I feel the connection and I feel the family.
So my heart is just full of appreciation to each and every one of us.
Welcome, everyone. Slowly, people are joining us. Some people are still in the waiting room. So you will hear me welcoming people maybe a few more times. Yeah.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Katie. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is a free community event hosted by NVC Rising called NVC and Faith. And my name is Goni, and I'm part of the NVC Rising team. And also another team member that is with us today is Henner. Hello, Henner.
Hello.
And he will be generally supporting us and also supporting the tech. We have 4 speakers with us today in these panels. We have Roberta, Reena, Nadia, and Myra, and each of them are going to present themselves more fully, also with their family names that I'm a little bit stressed to pronounce because I am worried I will be mistaken in pronouncing. So they will do it better than me. Yeah, so we have this session today is planned to last for 2 hours, and we will have a little introduction, and then we will have a panel that will have 2 parts, and I will say more about it soon. First, maybe the first thing I would like to just mention that we are recording this session. So in case you would not like your video to be on or something like this, it's totally fine. We would love to see you. But we are recording in order to share with some people who are very interested in being part but could not arrive to the live session. So they would like to watch this. Maybe the second thing I would like to share is that for now the chat is going to be open, and we will also ask you to share a little bit there, but later on we are going to close it because we would like to have some more focus on the conversation that we will be having there, and somehow maybe less of a double conversation also taking place in the chat. So this will happen later on. And I will have a few things to say as we go on. The first thing we would like to do is to have I'm welcoming you actually to now write in the chat where you are arriving from, or like where you are while joining us, and what brought you here. Why are you here? Quite shortly, if possible, so we could read from many of you. And we will move now to a short, somehow guided meditation led by Roberta. Roberta, this is how you will frame what we are doing now? Guided meditation. Yeah, so we will start with this so that we will maybe ground together arriving to this session.
Thank you, Goni. Hello, everyone. We just had a meeting of the panelists and decided that we are all in such pain, concern about what's going on in the world, and particularly in the Middle East. And we wanted to just start with a practice to bring us together and connect us with ourselves and each other. So maybe beginning with an inhale and an exhale. And let's begin by, can everybody mute? That would really help us concentrate. Maybe Henna, you can mute everyone except me in this moment. So let's begin by feeling your feet on the ground, or whatever part of your body is touching you and holding you in this moment, just as a way of making our bodies our allies in bringing in the energy of stability, such a core need in the nonviolent communication needs vision. Just become aware of any place of stability between you right now and where you sit or stand. Just take a moment to feel how you are held up and supported in this very moment. And breathe into the places in your body that are in contact with a chair, your buttocks, your feet. You might want to place your hands on your thighs and feel that contact. And just notice any emotions that arise in you as you do this, as you contact places where you're touching right now. Welcome whatever arises in you. Grief, gratitude, fear, joy. Everything is welcome in our NVC spaces. Maybe you're noticing your heart's beating, tightness. Breathe into the places in your body that want soothing right now. You can use your hands to bring soothing, bring attention, bring empathy. And as you fill yourself with this soothing, this attention, this life energy, you might want to look for a moment into the Zoom so you can put yourself on gallery. Just look around. And maybe we can make eye contact in Zoom. Can make a smiling contact. Wow. Wow. If you have a sense that we're safe in this Zoom room, just allow yourself, fill yourself with that sense of safety. Just breathe together, in and out. Maybe find someone in the Zoom room you can breathe in and out with right now. Even an image of a dear friend. I'm looking at the image of a dear friend in Jerusalem right now. Just breathing in and out and feeling your feet touching the floor, your hands grounding on your thighs. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings everywhere be protected. And free from harm. Thank you.
Exhaling from here. Thank you, Roberta. So I want to welcome once again those of you who are here with us. And I actually want to welcome those of you who are not here with us, but are going to watch this recording later on. And maybe say once again, we are in a session called NVC and Faith, and we have 4 speakers with us that you will soon get to meet and hear a little bit more about. This session is hosted by NVC Rising, and I am Goni. I am part of the team, and I will be facilitating and holding the panel today. And as a first step, I welcome the speakers that with us today to present yourself. I would like to invite you to say your names, where you're from, and maybe a few words about what faith means to you in your life, and to share a little bit also about your journey with NVC in the past and in the present. So each of you will have between 3 to 4 minutes, and we hope to hear all of you and then to move on to our next part. Okay. Reena, may I welcome you to be the first one? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yoni. I'm Reena Ginwala. I live in Dharamsala in the Himalayas, lower Himalayas in India. And this question, faith, what it means to me is to breathe in love and gratitude, kindness, a sense of oneness. And when it's hard to do that, to just take one more breath while letting go of that sense of, discomfort and immense pain around, any sense of separation or fear, So really focusing on how each breath can bring life to me and through me also bring life to others. Yeah, and as I say this, I notice some ease in my throat around what's going on in me right now. Seeing each one of us here, how we come together when things don't make sense. And my nonviolent communication journey started when I was needing it the most, when Marshall came to India in 2006. And I noticed me being in a state of, immense rage and anger around single parenting and having a sense that I don't matter, life is unfair, to really landing in a space of, wow, so much has happened, and how can I show up with choices around what has happened to me and my children, and also those who have similar experience as me, and opening my heart slowly to the one I was blaming for this. So, yeah, over many years, how can we be a family? How can we grow as a family and shift from survival to possibly thriving with new choices and interdependence? Yeah, I'll say more later, but this is how, for me, it's starting from the center of my inner life, from separation to interdependence, even with the struggle of it, and how suffering is a choice, pain is a given, and there's more. So thank you, Goni, for inviting me to share and be present. Yeah. Back to you.
Thank you, Reena. Will you share with us to maybe which tradition of faith you were born to? What kind of...
I was born to Hinduism,
Mm.
born as a Hindu, and took some faith rituals to land in that also as a teenager, and then found myself moving away from it because of the way it was practiced, and it didn't resonate with me. And then I moved into, the Sufi wisdom of the saints, the folk tradition of people who I could relate to as human and not God, which I found very far. And then also drawing from the Buddhist practices of mindfulness and compassion, as I live close to where His Holiness Dalai Lama lives. So yeah, it's been a journey of exploring religion and finding spirituality as a practice to live my humanity. Yeah.
Thank you, Reena. Nadia, before I turn to you, I just see Vicky raising her hand. Vicky, is it something urgent that you would
No, I
like to...
didn't know you had an order for speaking, so I apologize.
Yeah, And you now we will have the speakers speaking for the next half an hour. Is there something?
Oh, okay. I thought you said each of us was going to respond to your questions. My
No.
mistake.
No, just our speakers, but we will later on have time for questions from the audience and also some sharings. So then I really would like to have you speak, share, ask. Yeah. Thank you. It's for me, it's actually really brings some relief now. I understand. There was lack of clarity. Thank you. Nadia, will you go next? Where is Nadia? Oh, I think we lost Nadia for a moment. So, okay, Myra, will you go next? And I hope Nadia will come. Oh,
Yeah.
Nadia is, wait,
Yeah.
Nadia is here?
Okay. For a moment.
Okay, good.
Okay. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. When I hear the word faith or religion, rise in me togetherness, way of life, and how to treat others and to treat myself with mercy and and softness. I'm Arab, Muslim, Palestinian, Israeli. I live in Nazareth, the city of Jesus in North Israel in Galilee. My journey with NVC, it started more than 7 years ago. Actually, my nonviolence communication journey started when I was a child. To study the tool of NVC, it started only 7 years ago. And I started learning NVC when I was looking for a tool to support and to hold the Arab and Jewish circle that I was part of it, because I understood that all the work we are doing, there is a lack of tool to hold. After a few years and after a short time, always these initiatives break out and no continuation. I start learning in 2014. And from the same moment that I start learning it, I start to share it, especially in multicultural community. This is where I took the NVC into. And in 2016, I start the journey of as a candidate for the international certification. And I felt that I arrived home. That's something that I was looking for it a lot of years. I find it. Today, I'm in the step of pre-assessment of the final certification. What I'm doing nowadays with my colleagues from the NVC community here inside of Israel, that creating space where we can hold people, anyone who want, volunteering, and also to support Arab and Jewish groups that facing crisis in their relationship because of the war and living such a hard time of blaming, anger, and sadness. I think, Goni, I will stop meanwhile here. If there is anything else that you want me to add, please ask for it.
Thank you. I think I will add more questions later. Thank you, Nadia. Myra, would love to hear from you.
So hello, everyone. So glad to be here with you all. I'm surprised at the turnout, very delighted and pleased to be together at this very difficult time. So my faith journey started as Catholic, living in Mexico. Then I moved away from faith for a while because it wasn't meeting my needs. Then I discovered the gems in my tradition, and I came back. And for me, the gem is resumed in the first and second commandments that Jesus gave his followers, in which is love our God, love your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. That is the essence of my faith. And what does it mean to live it out? For me, it means spending time in silence, in the presence of divine, the sacred, every day, and trying to accept everyone unconditionally. It's a very tall aspiration, but that's what I want. I want to be able to be the vehicle of agape love for everyone with whom I cross paths. In terms of NVC, I love the intersection because NVC has taught me what it means to love people. It's not about having warm and tender feelings for everybody necessarily. It can happen, but it's more than that. It's treating people in such a way that I am honoring their dignity and their humanity, specifically caring about their needs for respect, for honesty, for consideration, for support, for help, etc. NVC gives me a very clear map of what it means to love others.
Thank you, Myra. Roberta, I pass the mic to you.
Me, right?
Yeah.
No.
Sorry. Our speaker, Roberta.
Yeah.
Maybe I will make it more clear. We will not hear from the audience now. We are only hearing from the speakers of the panel. They are presenting themselves. And later on, we will open the space for the audience. Later on, I mean, in about 25 minutes from now. Yeah.
Thank you, Goni, and all my sisters. What is coming to me in this moment about faith is it's at the core for me of nonviolent communication, Judaism and Buddhism. I'm really with you today from two traditions, Judaism and Buddhism. And I asked myself, faith in what? And I think it's faith, in all three of these life paths of mine. Seems to me that what gives me the strength, the courage, and sort of a sense of authenticity that I can authentically practice any of them is a faith that there is goodness at the core of humanity. In Buddhism, it's what's called Buddha nature, that everything arises, everything that has arisen has this nature, this capacity to wake up fully. In Judaism, it starts at the beginning of our Torah, and it's that everything in the known world is created from really the exhale of the same breath of life. And in NVC, I'm thinking, what is it that gives me some kind of confidence that empathy is a medicine that we all need? And I think it's this faith that when we are filled with empathy, you know, when we can really fill ourselves with empathy and other people, that the layers of pain and suffering peel away, and that there is goodness that I want to help bring back into the world. So that's what comes up for me right now about faith. And my NVC path, I first heard about NVC from within my Buddhist community. I'm an ordained by Thich Nhat Hanh as part of his lay Sangha. He's a Vietnamese Buddhist monk and my teacher. And I first heard about NVC from other people in our order who had been hearing about this strange, interesting way of being that says you should never use the word should. That was the first NVC teaching I ever heard, and my first response was, why? And I, from that place of doubt and curiosity, thought, okay, I could see that I'm living with a lot of shoulds, both from my spiritual practice and from my upbringing. So I started studying and learning with Marshall. Yeah, that's enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. I didn't plan so, but I thought, oh, maybe I should also say a few words about myself. So my name is Goni, and I practice NVC for the past 14 years, thanks to Roberta, who created many learning opportunities in Israel and Palestine, starting around about 14 or 15 years ago. I am now currently located in Israel, Palestine. And I'm Israeli, born Israeli and also Jewish. I've built a family recent, a multi-faith or mixed faith family. My partner is Muslim, and we have a child that is a mix. NVC is something that is somehow guiding me through since I've first started to get to know it. And I could say more, but I would actually like to take us to the next part, which is some of our speakers sharing few prayers in their own languages. And after that, we will move to our first question. And maybe before that, I would like to also bring somehow my own. It's not something that comes from my tradition or anything like this, but is more like acknowledging the current situation in Israel and Palestine. So just somehow praying that all the people in Palestine, in Israel, Palestinian, Israelis, other people who are part of this region, land, the people around us, and the people all over the world that are also impacted by the escalation of violence will be safe and will also be free. Acknowledging that also I'm relatively more safe than many other people that are now living on this land. Yeah, so this is a little bit of what I would like to share with all of us now. And I would like to invite maybe you, Nadia, if you are ready.
Yes.
And yeah, and we will have 3 prayers shared by some of the speakers, and then we will start asking more questions. We will share the translation to English in various forms, maybe in the chat, maybe in a share screen, so that you can also understand what is the prayer expressing.
Okay. I can start, Moni?
Yes, please do.
This prayer, I didn't wrote it. I just received it from a colleague and a friend from the Scottish of Scotland. A few days after the war started, after 7th of October. And it's a private prayer, and it says like this: صلاتي ليست من أجل عربي أو يهودي أو فلسطيني أو إسرائيلي، بل أصلي من أجل نفسي لكي لا أفرق بينهم في صلواتي وأحفظ كلاهما في قلبي معا. I feel that it's okay to say it in English also.
Yep.
Okay. Pray not for Arab or Jew, for Palestinian or Israeli, but pray rather for ourselves, that we might not divide them in our prayers, but keep them both together in our hearts.
Mm. Wow.
Thank you, Nadia. Reena, we will move to hear from you.
Thank you, Nadia. I want to share a prayer which is composed by Guruji Goenkaji, who brought to us the Vipassana meditation. And it goes like this. Today I wish I could sing, but I have this sense that I cannot sing. At the same time, my heart is singing this loudly over and over again. And it goes like, Tera Mangal, Mera Mangal, Sabka Mangal, Hoye Re. Tera Mangal, Mera Mangal, Sabka Mangal, Hoye Re. अंतर मन की गांठें टूटे, अंतर निर्मल होए रे. राग द्वेष और मोह मिट जाए, शील समाधि होए रे. शुद्ध धर्म जन जन में जागे, घर घर शांति होए रे. तेरा मंगल मेरा मंगल, सबका मंगल होय रे सबका मंगल होय रे। May
Thank
we
you, Reena.
find ourselves with the blessings of oneness and interdependence in each moment.
Thank you, Reena. We're moving to hear from you, Myra.
Yes, yes. So, dear friends, I am shortening this prayer so that I can tell you in English what it means, because it's more meaningful. So it's called, it's known as the Prayer of Saint Francis, Francis of Assisi. And it's a prayer of peace. And the essence of it is, O divine teacher, grant me not so much to be comforted, but to comfort, to be understood, but to understand, to be loved, but to love with all my heart. Hazme un instrumento de tu paz. Donde haya odio, siembre yo amor. Donde haya injuria, perdón. Donde haya duda, fe. Donde haya desesperación, donde haya oscuridad, lleve yo la esperanza, lleve yo la luz. Y donde haya tristeza, gozo. Oh divino Maestro, concédeme no tanto ser consolada, sino consolar. Ser comprendida, sino comprender. Ser amada, sino amar con todo mi corazón. Amén.
Thank you, Myra. Roberta, would love for you to make us complete with our prayers for this part.
Oh,
For this part.
for this part. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to offer a one-line prayer, and what I'm saying in English is the same that I'm saying in Hebrew. Pitach libi, open my heart. Pitach libi, open my heart. Pitach libi, pitach libi, pitach libi. Petach libi.
Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your prayers with us and drawing them or bringing them from the sources that are resources and resources that are precious for you, past and in present. So thank you very much. We would like to move now to start asking some questions, and I will be doing that first, and later on you people who joined us here will also have the possibility to ask some questions, share some heart reflections. So we will have time for that, but now we will start with with the first question. And I also want to say that we are going to have somehow two parts for this panel. The first part will be somehow more general, relating to NVC and faith and how they intersect or how they nourish each other in the lives or in the practices of the speakers, how maybe what challenges they are facing or what kind of dilemmas are coming up. So in a more general sense. And the second part will be more related to NVC and faith practices that could support
in times of escalations and violent escalation. So this will be the second part. It's important for us to relate to it today, and at the same time we will not open with it. So I just wanted to somehow frame that to all of you that are here with us. And also I want to say that we acknowledge or could imagine that some of the things that will be shared here might bring up some big feelings in people. And we also, I just have mosquitoes, so if you see me like this, it's so we are aware that this could bring up all kinds of feelings in people, and we somehow want to say that we recognize we don't have the capacity to fully hold someone as we wish we could in this panel because of time, because of resources. And if you feel like you need support, it might be better to check with someone that is close to you, that is available now, that is around you, that is within call. And we will also try to relate to you if this does happen to you, and if you do share it with us. We just want to say that our capacity is somehow limited, and we recognize that in this session. Yeah, so let us begin. For the time being, we will close the chat so that we could be a little bit more focused on the conversation that we have now with the speakers. And later on, we will reopen it again. So just to let you know that this is what we've decided for now. Okay, so actually, our first question, or my question to you, dear speakers, is a little bit general, but how can you describe the relations between your NVC practice and the faith-related practice you develop over the years? How these practices nourish each other? And did you experience any challenges or dilemmas in the intersection of these two practices? Yeah, so this will be somehow our first question, and I would like to have each of you a few minutes to share, and you can also relate to one of the many questions that I presented here. You don't have to answer all of it, but perhaps maybe focus on what is mostly meaningful for you in this moment. Yeah, maybe I will this time let you, each of you, just feel or just unmute yourself when you feel you want to jump in. I don't know, I'm not sure who to call first, but if you are ready, we would love to hear from you.
I feel ready.
Thank you, Myra.
Yes, so as I said before, the commandment is to love God and to love our God and love our neighbor as ourselves. And it seems to me, love your neighbor as yourself. It seems to me that loving the self has been neglected. It's typically not given a lot of attention. At least that's my experience in the tradition that I follow. And NVC has legitimized and validated and honored love of self. And love of self is not selfishness. It's, now I understand, it's actually indispensable. It's necessary to be able to love others, to be able to honor my needs and and try to meet them to the best of my ability helps me be fulfilled. And from that place, it's much easier, and it's to love others. And when my needs cannot be met, I also have a practice for that I learned in NVC, to rest in the beautiful energy of the need. And so they're intricately related for me, the two practices. And then another thing is, NVC has given me a way to mourn the sadness and sorrow of small and huge disappointments or events in my life. And I can do that every day. And it's called self-empathy. The process is called self-empathy. And I can do that every day, and then heal and come back the next day with strength, with self-connection, with clarity. That is a huge part of my my daily practice, and I thank NVC for that. Complete.
Thank you, Myra.
For me, what helps most right now is the living wisdom from the oral traditions of Kabir, who was a mystic weaver poet who lived in Varanasi, central India in 15th century. And, the couplet, मैं लगा उस एक से, एक भया सब माए, सब मेरा, मैं सबन का, कहाँ दूसरा नाए. Which means that when I connect with myself, the higher self, the inner being, then I find myself connected to all. All are mine. I belong to all. There is no other. I mean, this is something that was spoken and has been sung in the folk tradition of the musicians, Bhakti tradition also, where I go to the villages for these festivals and top up on the living wisdom in India. And from nonviolent communication, the practice of self-connection through self-empathy helps me to reconnect with my need to contribute to all of life. And, how I can find myself back from my head to my heart, where, there is the capacity to give and receive, through the lens of needs. I see that I'm connected with you because we have the same needs, and then can be curious about strategies. So that helps. And from the Buddhist tradition and the Vipassana meditation, I can reconnect with my body sensations and my breath to shift and use mindfulness as awareness, being in the moment rather than getting lost in the past or future. So it's Vipassana meditation to stay connected with my breath and body sensations, which helps me to self-connect. And then through the needs lens, look at where needs help me to sustain the sense of connection with all, and then flow from there with new choices to serve life. Yeah, it's a lot, but I think I'm trying to be as brief as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Reena. Okay, I will speak. I grew up with the wonderful values of the Islam that
I knew as a child and as a young. These values, it serve life. And this is what I see common between NVC and the values that I grew up with. And the values is justice, freedom, dignity, equality, kindness, and mercy. Mercy from man to his other brother man. Compassion from man to animals. Compassion from man to nature. And this is where I see the common things between NVC and the Islam that I grew up with, that it's to include everything that in this life, and to see and to hear and to take it in consideration. And in the same time, to take in consideration my feelings and my need. Okay? To make self-empathy, I'll compare it in the Islam, when I feel sad or when I feel hard or angry, I go to pray in order to connect with myself and to connect with my creator. Okay? And I compare it to self-empathy in NVC. And also there is a phrase said that inna libadanika haqqun alayk. And also the care of my body. I have the duty and the responsibility to care of my body. Okay? And also the phrase, love to yourself as you love to your brother as you love to yourself. It means also to treat gently yourself and also others. And in NVC say that two sides, one beside the other, and not one instead of the other. And this is also the values that I grew up what talk about. The challenge I see sometimes, that also I see it in the faith and also in NVC, I see and I experience a big gap between the values of the religion or of the faith, of the tradition that at least I grew up with, and between the reality that people do things in the name of the religion. It's like to be violence, and I say my faith order me to be violence, or I have to do this or other, and this is in the name of the religion. This is my faith order me to do that. And the same with NVC, I experience a lot of time, at least in the journey that I did till now, that there is a lot of gap between living NVC and learning or teaching NVC. I think, and other thing, compassion, love, and connections. This is common for the two things for me, the way I have been raised. At least this is the Islam I grew up with.
Thank you, Nadia.
My turn?
Yes.
Maybe
Roberta, ready to just hold on a moment. Angela, we are going to have some other part, like soon some part for questions or sharing, but I see you. Oh, no.
Okay.
You lowered your hand. Okay.
Angela. Thank you, Nadia, and everyone. And just, I'm really grateful, Nadia, for what you said about the gap between teaching NVC and living it. And for me, wow, that I think that's touching me so deeply right now because I'm so struggling that with all the religions. I mean, the beauty that the five of us are presenting that we pull from our religions is very real for us and alive. And at the same time, every single one of our religions right now, things that are being done in the name of all of them, including Buddhism, it's just a gap. It's just extraordinarily painful, and just to be reminded that we have that same gap in NVC somehow. Yeah, it's just giving, I don't know, it's giving me, maybe it's taking me out of the right, wrong, good, bad, that, okay, there's something about the nature of all the meanings that we find, all the ways we find meaning to make sense of our world are just so contain all the suffering. And that is something that's very core at the heart of Judaism, this idea that humans are put before us in every moment a blessing and a curse, that in every moment the way only becomes clear when we look inside ourselves and also look at the impact of our actions on the world and on others. And that when we do that, when we look deeply inside ourselves and look at the impact on others, can we then discern what blessing and what is a curse, and what are we going to bring into the world? So that's one way that I really do work with Judaism that helps me. And I just want to be really honest that today, in these weeks, it's the challenges that are way more alive for me. The challenges, I'm thinking so much about identity. You know, is there any way that I can hold on to a specific identity, such as Jewish, in my case, that doesn't just create separation and contention? You know, is there? And I think that I want to keep that question alive. And the way I bring Buddhism into all of this is we have a practice in Buddhism of using what we call koans, these questions that don't have an answer. We just live them. Well, maybe they have an answer, but I want to just live that question. How does me showing up in this moment and speaking about Judaism, you know, how does that contribute to the values I want to contribute to? Does that bring into the world the needs that I want to bring, continue to activate and innovate in the world? And it's painful to ask the question, of course. And I just want to say, and I have this great fear that I'm going to sound like I'm some kind of apologist for Judaism right now, or an apologist for NVC, or an apologist for anything. And all I have are questions, and and I see again so Abraham, right, who is the father of three of the traditions that are on this call, the initial path, what he was told was, leave your identity, go out leave the identity of your father, of your birthland, leave the of everything you know. That is the way that you are going to give birth to great nations, with a plural. So I do find that in the tradition, and it's very hard to find that in the practice. So it's a great, painful challenge for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. Angela, you would like to say something, or you?
Yes, I was going to share that the NVC has really helped me a lot in coming to understand things happening around me and learning to do things differently, especially in a way that will become more life-giving to others. I'm speaking from Nigeria, where currently we're having a lot of issues, political, insecurity-wise, and so
From where?
many.
Sorry,
Nigeria.
from Nigeria. Okay, yeah, I didn't
So,
hear.
there has been a couple of challenges here. Insecurity, tribal wars, things to do with herdsmen and farmers. And so, finding yourself in this kind of a situation, you're meeting people that are broken, people that are having all kinds of difficulty trying to understand the situations they are. I really say that some of the learnings I'm gaining from NVC has been so helpful in supporting these people, the ones I come across. And so I feel if I have the opportunity to learn more, that it will keep helping me in supporting the people that I come around. So it's not actually a question per se, but maybe to say I'll be glad to have more learning knowledge around how to cope in a situation like this, especially that I am willing to support people because I'm a nun, I'm a reverend sister, and so I don't work I'm not on a paid job. My work is to support people. So I feel I need a lot of knowledge and wisdom to be able to navigate what I meet in ministry. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Angela. Yeah, so I hear faith is also quite central or very meaningful in your life. And that you, since getting to know NVC, you found this practice or this set of tools or this consciousness as potentially that it has a lot of potential to support your work as a person of faith and as a leader where you are in order to support people and care for their needs, and you also yearn for more learning.
Yeah, you're correct. Yes.
Thank you for sharing, Angela.
Thanks.
I think maybe now we will actually open the space. We will open it now once, and we will open it also later on once again. For you who are here with us, similarly to Angela, to raise your hand. It will be preferably by raising your hand, as we have some order, like Angela did before. She was raising a digital hand. By raising your hand, we welcome you to bring a question to one of the speakers or to all of them, or to just invite you to bring a little sharing, maybe similarly to what Angela just brought. I would like to ask you to keep it concise and short, because we have a second part that we would really like to reach, and we might have a few people wanting to share. So if you have a question or if you have a sharing, please try to make it concise if possible for you. So welcoming you to raise your hand. We will have around 10 or 12 or 15 minutes to take questions, to answer, to hear from you. And then we move to the second part. So the space is open, and I will welcome the people who are raising their hands.
Vicky, I noticed that your hand was up before. I'm remembering, and I wonder if Vicky in Eastern USA, and I wonder if you still would like to speak.
Yeah, I see Vicky is here, so we see if she's right. Thank you, Myra. I
Yeah.
see Vicky is on the call, so Vicky, if I will turn to you if you will raise your hand. But first, I would like to welcome Negozi. Maybe you could say your name correctly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm Ngozi, communicating or calling from Nigeria, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. I just finished a program that is hectic. Some of my sisters had their celebration today. I'm a nun, a reverend sister. So 3 of my sisters had their perpetual vows today. So we have been planning for the program for the past 1 week now throughout.
Oh. We lost Negozi? Okay. So I think maybe she just disconnected. Yeah. So if anyone has a question that they would like to ask, or a little sharing that they would like to bring to us, to this community, I welcome you to do so. I hope Ngozi will come back. And if not, I actually have many questions I would like to bring. Okay, Arlene?
Yes.
Did I?
Yeah, that's right. Hi. I have not done NVC, but I have been interested. And this is something that's been sitting with me. Whoops. Now I can't find it. That I've been contemplating, and I don't know, I'm sorry, where I got it, but each one of us is the world. Each one of us is many worlds. These worlds overlap. What makes us think that we are separate? And I've just been writing about it and contemplating. Yeah, so I thought to share it, bring it into the space. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene. I'm curious where you are.
Oh, I'm in New York.
Yeah. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Vicky, before I turn to you, I will go back to Ngozi because she came back. Oh no, again, she did. She's not. Okay. Vicky, would love to hear from you. Vicky? We can't hear you. I don't know if you are speaking, but we can't hear you. I see your mic is on, but we don't hear you. If you are with headphones, maybe you can plug them out, or maybe this will help. Okay. Maybe leave the room and come back to us. Maybe then we can hear you. I don't know. Yeah. We still cannot hear you. I see you muted and then unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Okay, so she's leaving. She will come back. Christina.
Hello, good evening or morning or whoever. I'm not sure my question is fully formed yet, so I'll just kind of go with it. But for me, when I first started learning NVC, I thought it was a skill to learn how to communicate with other people. And generally, I wanted to learn so I can get the people around me to do what I wanted them to do. And as I've been learning over the last year and a half, I find that it's more about embodying a different kind of consciousness in which I open myself to be touched by the humanity of others. And in my own personal faith, I'm Muslim, I find that there's like a sort of discrepancy between the part of the religion that's kind of seems like a rule-based, prescriptive way of telling people how to live, versus the Islam that I have fallen in love with, that mystical dimension that puts me in touch with the spiritual side, in which I can find in myself learning how to love and how to be love. And I'm curious about the panelists and how in their own relationship with their faiths, if they do find that kind of discrepancy of the rules or ideas of how one is supposed to live prescriptively versus that mystical dimension, and how that might overlap with how their relationship is with NVC, and whether they find that this embodying a different consciousness is integrated with their faith and how they experience their spirituality, or if there's still kind of a gap there that you're bridging at this moment, and what that's like for you.
Christina, thank you. And I just realized you're the Christina I know and love. So
Yeah, hi, Connie.
And I wonder if let me check if I understood correctly the question.
Yeah, sorry, it's a bit long.
No, for me it was actually helping. I think. Let's see if I get it. So do you mean maybe, in a shorter way, that for you, you very much connect to the intention of your religion, and at the same time, there are some, let's call it, strategies that the religion is or at least the common religion or the common practices of the religion, some strategies that you find quite challenging and are not actually quite often really speaking to the needs or to this intention that you really connect to. Is it something like this?
Almost.
Okay.
Because the parallel that I'm making with NVC is taking it from kind of like this rule-based strategy versus living a consciousness in which you can be touched by life and by others, and living the essence of ourselves, which is love, in my opinion. Maybe people have a different idea of that, and that's fine too. But I find that it's kind of difficult to integrate the two still. And I wonder if the panelists have that experience for themselves when it comes to how they express, how they relate to their religion. And then also if they might have felt that with NVC and how they bridged that, whether there is some kind of connection there between how they practice their NVC and how they practice their religion. And so it's not very like a definite concrete question so much as an invitation to explore that relationship and however that may express itself in the panelists.
Thank you. I see Roberta and Reena already have raised their hands, so we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your question and your how you're struggling with that, Christine, and that's a major point that I actually wanted to speak to. When, like, first of all, to many people, I think religion itself is a strategy, not the core need. And to many people, religious identity is a core need. And when we see this in our personal lives as well as in these big pictures, when the fundamental need, the fundamental guiding force of how you want to show up in the world is completely intertwined with all the strategies of it. I think that is a major cause of conflict in the world. I think that's something that NVC has taught me. So, and I think it's part of why I personally struggle so much with identity at all. So I don't have a solution, actually. I can just say that what I try to do when I see people acting in ways that to me are causing violence and are not bringing compassion, connection, understanding, safety into the world. In other words, not meeting needs, to use the NVC lingo, and they're doing it in the name of a religion. I try to look underneath the actions and the choice of actions. So, well, what is the need? And then if I'm engaging with people, to try and just connect to the need. And that at least keeps me out of good, bad, right, wrong, revenge, punishment, blame, shame. So that's, I think this is a core way that NVC actually can help us. And those of us who are involved in holding groups and spaces where there are people acting radically different from each other in the name of universal values, right? I think that NVC provides this powerful tool. So when you say that it's, and this isn't easy, and I don't by any means always succeed at doing this, but you know, when you say that you need to do this to meet your need for safety, is that what it is? Are you're doing this to meet your need for safety? And I think we can help take other people out of the mindset of revenge. I think we can help give other people clarity when we're using the NVC model of modeling back the needs, right, rather than attacking the strategies. That when we model back the needs to people, I think we can help them get clarity about when they're acting from revenge and anger and punishment. I think we help each other see that. I don't know if that was clear, and this is what I'm trying to do in this time, particularly in Jewish circles. And, you know, so I'm all over the place. So is that clear and helpful at all?
Yeah, thank you. It was really nice to see where you went with that. I didn't know if I would get a chance to respond to you, so I did write the points that really resonated with me in the chat. Thank you, Roberta.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. Reena, I would love to hear from you.
Yes, I love the strategy, Christina, to support our flow and also effectiveness as we come with our questions and inquiry into what else could we do? What are we missing? And this, your inquiry brought me to this struggle that I have about, I believe, about love thy neighbor. I want to. And when my neighbor complains about my dog barking, I cannot love them. And also when, say in my housing society, the committee members put rules that I cannot rent my home to people of certain faith or single women, working women. You know, it's so difficult, or people from the LGBTQIA plus community. The rules limit me, and then I get into, I'll rebel and I'll, you know, use power over. And I don't care for their needs. Now I see that they're coming from some needs, beautiful needs. And somewhere, you know, this process that I've learned from my mentors, Jim and Jory Manske, on transforming, I have to listen, or I have to submit, or I have to love my neighbors, to I choose to. So this process helps me to, based on the observation, feeling, need, request, that I request myself, you know, when I observe, I have that pressure of I have to agree to something that doesn't meet my need for integrity or care, mutual care, safety. I choose to, you know. So what do I choose to do? How do I shift in the moment, honoring my capacity, honoring the best thing that I can do with self-care, you know? So that process is also, so there are certain processes in nonviolent communication that help me to submit to power or rebel to power, and shift to mourning about constrictions, and then find creative strategies back into an expanded choice where I can meet all needs or consider more needs. I know I cannot meet all needs, but can I consider certain needs which I was not holding with care earlier? Yeah.
Thank you, Reena. Nadia, we'd love to hear from you.
It just raised in me, there is a ayah in the Quran that say, I will say it in Arabic and I will translate it. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال تعالى
نحن ممشيين
ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. God said, and neither good nor evil are equal. Repel with that which is best, and behold, the one between whom and you there is enmity, as if he were a close friend. This is from Surah Fussilat, Ayah 34. This is from the Quran. Sometimes I'm challenging between the values that I grew up with from the Quran and what I read from the Quran. And how I see people behave. They talk something and they're saying something. And when I hear these words, it's take me to the NVC, how I have to care about myself and in the same time to care about the need of others. And also to be in choice. Okay? If somebody did behave to me with violence, I have a choice to answer with violence or to choose other strategy. And the Quran tells us to choose what is best for the both side and not for one side. What's best for me and what's best for the other. And also the NVC, it say to include me and to include the other. This is what raised in me when you are talking about Christina.
SubhanAllah, thank you, Nadia. If I can request, if you put the exact numbers of that ayah, I would be so.
Fussilat 34 and 35.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Christina, thank you so much for this question. Just very touched by having people on the call really somehow bringing their heart to this space and dilemmas, or the things you have on your heart that you question yourself on a daily basis. So thank you so much. For me, it's really like a heart opening and bring the sense of partnership and togetherness in the journey that I consider myself part of. So I really appreciate that, Christine. Thank you. I see we have Janet and Roberta. So we just start with Janet.
Yes. I thank you so much, all of you, for these topics, because they're rarely really discussed. And I've always felt that NVC addresses needs. But I'd like to ask, we are born in love. Where does fear come from? If we're all born in love, which is personal or the divine, whatever we want to understand in our personal journeys, where does fear come from?
Thank you, Janet. I will wait a moment and give the speakers take the question in. They might need a moment or two.
I'm sorry, there's one, fear or pride, because to me they're very similar, fear or pride.
Yes, Reena.
Yeah, Janet. To me, I remember Marshall's inquiry into the two questions, and the main one around main meaning, they're both important. But when when I believe or I have a thought that my needs don't matter to the other person, and especially need for safety and to live, to have a life. And it's so hard to, dissolve the fear and the sense of separateness. And also that their strategies don't consider my needs. So I'm not able to stay. I evaluate the strategies and react even before understanding or connecting. So I lose my curiosity around certain strategies that they are using to meet their needs. And when I kind of take a pause and check, why would you do that? Then I can understand, and I say, oh, okay, that's why. So yeah, how can I slow down when I have fear? I think that's what comes up for me, these thoughts.
Thank you. So it's more about questioning our thoughts and discerning what's really a belief rather than, I'm asking, where do beliefs that something will not be met come from that produces fear. So to me, that's the really, there's only fear or love. Where did we all get, the whole global, where did this all go haywire? Because we're born in love. And I'm very curious about this topic. Thank you for answering. It's our thoughts that create that.
Yes, and how those thoughts can't be stopped. Thoughts
yes. Well, where did they come from if they're not true?
And the limiting,
where are they coming from?
Yeah, the limiting beliefs that, we have picked up when we were educated or socialized. And how can NVC help me to observe that, oh, here is a thought, here is a story, and is it true? How do I feel about it? So from the head to the heart, with making the thought and observation a stimulus and going to the cause, which is my precious needs. Something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Reena, and thank you, Janet. I would like to turn to Roberta R from Italy, just to not confuse the two Robertas. So this will be the last either question or sharing, and then I'll bring another thing to today's panelist.
Thank you. I think Reena a little bit already answered what I was thinking to say, but anyway, I will say that. For my experience, I know NVC since a couple of years, and I ended up my marriage recently because what I experienced was a war of needs. And as Reena said, sometimes the strategy of communicating the needs is totally killing. And the strategy was, for me, his strategy, unconscious strategy, of course, was for me something that was hurting deep in the core of my heart. And I couldn't help myself to react emotionally, like crying, sometimes desperate, sometimes like feeling not the bread. Like his way of communicating needs was too hurting for me. Like angriness or punishing or devaluing, belittling. So basically, he's trying to communicate unmet needs through a tragic way. And his tragic way was carrying me away with my tragedy inside of not being understood, of being judged, of being punished. So I really ended up because I felt very abusive. But it's all about the way we communicate needs. And sometimes the way can be so tragic that cannot be sustainable. And even though I know NVC, so I could apply, but my emotions were so involved because I love him, obviously, but I was so disappointed. So I couldn't help myself to be calm, to breathe, push it next day, like I might do in a meeting or with a friend. With him, I was totally deep in my core of the heart. And that's why I handed it. So yeah, I just wanted to share this experience that unluckily was not going well. And now I'm trying to analyze a little bit in a distance. There is not a bad or good, a devil or a saint. Just I feel like sometimes the way we communicate is very important. The needs, yeah, and also the reaction on the consequence is for me was not possible to control. Thank you.
Roberta, thank you for sharing.
maybe briefly I can reflect and say that as you are in the past few years learning NVC and really able to sense, recognize, give space to the needs that are there and present for you and for your partner, you still experience the impact whenever needs are, or whenever the wish to fulfill needs is expressed in a tragic way. This I hope I got you correctly. Okay. I see another person raising his hand, and I want to somehow mourn. I don't want to take another question or another sharing. I'm not sure what your name is.
Hi, my name is David. I'm from Israel. Maybe just a remark, a short remark, if it's okay.
If it's very short, yes.
I'll do my best.
When I mean short, I mean 1 minute.
It's okay. I can do it in 1 minute, even less.
Okay, so thank you. And we won't have the time to relate. So
it's okay, no problem. Thank you.
Just to give you the space to express, and then we move on.
I just wish to say that I'm in Israel, considered to be Jew according to my ID, but I don't know what it is actually. Because in my opinion, people are born people. They're not born Jews or Christians or whatever. So in Hebrew, there's the word ahava, which is love, which the initials of it means en evdel ben ha'anashim. There's no differentiation between people, including no discrimination and these kind of things. And if you take the word light in Hebrew, in English, and write in English, right, it means reality is great hatred together. Because if I'm Jewish and you are not, then I'm right and you are wrong, and then there's a problem. But light, it means living in great harmony together. Light in Hebrew is or. Achva vereut, ahava vereut. It says in the language. It's very powerful. And languaging is powerful. Languaging is about communication and what we do here, NVC. That's what I wanted to remark, and maybe just last word, L-I-F-E, living, life. Living is for everybody, with no discrimination and no differentiation and no differences. That's what I just wanted to say. Thank you. I love you all.
When raising my hands like this, I'm somehow celebrating how you how you break the word life. Thank you. Thank you, David. Okay, we actually we are running out of time. We have 15 minutes, and this is why I was a little bit rushed. And we also wanted to give the panelists the chance to relate to the situation we are facing in Israel, Palestine, the Middle East, the world now, which is escalation in violence. People are unsafe, people are dying. People are killing each other in different ways. And what I would like to ask, and we might not have as much time as we wanted to have, but perhaps how each of you is taking refuge or drawing guidance or comfort from your faith tradition and from your NVC practice in this time of violence and division in the world, and also how the two fit together when you do this. Maybe I will just add the other question that we had that is somehow related, and you can choose where to go with your time. What practices can each of you name that are NVC related and faith related or faith based that could potentially help us meet more needs and live the needs consciousness in these times? So the questions are somehow bind together, but slightly different. And we will use these 10 last minutes that we have to hear a little bit from each of you. Feel free to unmute yourself, and you might also take a moment to to come prepared for this question.
I can start. It's okay.
Yes, go ahead, Nadia, please.
You know, I'm living this reality now in this moment here in our country with all the tragedy and the pain that we are experiencing nowadays. I found refuge in a community. And when I say community, for me, here as a Palestinian Israeli, meanwhile, the community for me, it's virtual. Community for me that those days, Jewish, Muslims, Christians from all religions, we are collaborating together to help people in need, to found, for example, what we're doing. I start doing few days after the war to support people to find places where to move on from dangerous area. And one person asked me, why you are doing that for Jewish people? And I remember my answer was that I'm doing this for people who are in need, not for Jewish people. Because I do it the same for Arab and Jewish, the same. And I think this solidarity and this support, it's give me strength and to know that we are together. And when we share our pain and our sorrows, and we know that we are not alone, this is give strength, even in hard times. Some people, they do it in prayers. Some people, they do it with meditation. Some people, they do it with sharing spaces. Some people, they do it to go out together, Arabs and Jewish, to the street to keep the street safe and no violence between young Arabs and Jewish. There is some people, they do it with making facilitation and sessions for displaced families, Arabs and Jewish, that I have in my city, Nazareth. And everyone do it in his way. But the most important, it's to support each other. And this is, I think, the time that where I feel the most support that I need. And I think the fact I have the NVC tool that's supporting me to connect first with my heart and to connect with others as a human being, this is all what makes the difference.
Thank you, Nadia. Roberta?
Yeah, I just want to add to what Nadia said in terms of NVC practices that are really helping me now is, as people have shared, the practice of self-empathy, because numbers of times in these last few weeks, I have found myself choosing to be in community because I so want to be in community right now. And by the way, Marshall Rosenberg, our teacher, I heard him say once that two needs that really hard to meet unless you're in a collective are the needs for mourning and celebration. So, you know, I have a big need for mourning right now. And several times I've made a choice to be in a community and just started to feel very uncomfortable that my need for integrity and shared values wasn't being met. And so rather than jumping up and running out or totally shutting off, which are kind of the ancestral ways I really learned to cope with discomfort in crowds, is to sit and give myself empathy. Wow, it's really hard for me to be sitting here right now. I'm so yearning for to be surrounded by the energy of valuing all life. And so I'm so grateful to NVC for that. And this is helping me make a choice I'm making about, do I go to something tonight that I have already such a huge fear. It's only going to be talking about one people's suffering, and I fear that I'll explode. And I know that's not going to contribute what I'd like to contribute. So thank you for the question and the reminders.
Thank you, Roberta. Maya, if you're speaking, you are muted.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm
Yeah,
muted.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Roberta. So I would like to share my practice, which I have already, but it's morning. And I do that better when I have somebody listening to me, one or more people, but even on my own, morning, so that I can clear the space and go down to the heart. Well, I'm already in the heart, presumably when I'm morning, but to hear what's the next step for me, what is mine to do in this moment. And so that every action I take is actually stemming from the source. So there's not me trying to figure out, because what could I figure out, What could I think of? Nothing really, personally. However, if I'm guided, then I trust that my actions will be meaningful and beneficial. So in terms of NVC morning, I said it, self-empathy or empathy from others, etc. And then in terms of my own inner practice, I like to go into the inner silence meditation, which is needs-based and NVC-based. And that allows me to rest in that place from which I derive solace and comfort and trust. And I'm done.
Thank you, Myra. We will hear from Reena, and then Myra. I will invite you to somehow help us close the session with another guided meditation. I just want to confirm somehow we are still doing that. Yeah. Okay. So let's hear from Reena and
yes, very briefly. I mean, there's so much already shared, but I try remind myself that forgiveness is not a burden. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, but really removing the charge from that comes from the evaluative energy of my life experience, my lived experience. So when I mourn, I can connect with myself deeply, and then with the other, and really open my heart again. Just leave it that much. Forgiving is not forgetting, but really opening my heart again. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you all.
Thank you. So soon we will, Myra, I will pass the mic to you. what I would like to share before we do that and before we somehow conclude and close the session is to say that actually we at NVC Rising we will open a year program in about a month from now that is inviting people to deepen their NVC practice and to be in community somehow in a similar way to what we are doing here today. Coming together and learning more about NVC, practicing together. This we didn't have so much the chance to do today. But we are opening a program in a month, and we will also share a little bit about it with you over email. But I just also want to say that I will stay here a few minutes after we close, and also Henner from our team will stay here a few minutes after we close in case people would like to ask questions about it. Yeah, so this is more on the technical aspect of how we are going to round it up. And before formally closing and thanking all the speakers, I would like to have you, Myra, taking or creating a short space for us to just ground ourselves once again before we say goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How many minutes would you like me to take?
Yeah. We are 1 minute before the hour, and we might just a few extra minutes just to be able to close it
maybe
softly and not sharply.
3 minutes
So,
altogether
so
would
yeah,
work?
1 or 2 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes.
1 or 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Oh, friends, well, thank you for this opportunity to be together in community, pondering this very important exploration together. Thank you so much for your presence, for your curiosity, and above all, for your care. So I invite you to take a deep, long breath and follow the air as it enters and leaves your nostrils. Send your attention to the feet and notice temperature, tension, contact, and movement. Notice the legs, the buttocks, the back, the entire back, the abdomen and stomach. Notice the chest, the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Notice the neck and the face and the scalp. Survey your body and notice areas of discomfort or tension or pain, and simply notice. I invite you to bring a hand to the center of your chest, next to the heart, and find deep inside a place of silence. And in that place, quietly rest as you repeat in your mind the word peace. 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 Perhaps you may feel sad and sorrowful. Allow that to be. Don't suppress it. Instead, embrace it. Connect with the pain of the lack of peace in the world. And grieve. And in this moment, notice this sensation inside you that is the energy of peace. And rest there. And let that be your guide. And ask your heart, loving heart, or ask your sacred source, what can I do right now in my own little corner of the world to contribute to peace now or in the future? And wait for an answer to arise from the heart, either now or in the next day or two or week. Come back to the inner silence to find serenity in the midst of it all. And come back to the room to say goodbye as a community and to remain with each other in the place of oneness. Shalom.
Thank you, Myra. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Reena. And I want to also thank each of you for being here with us today. I want to thank Hannah and Lou, his daughter, that were helping us with tech today. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being here when we ask ourselves, as Myra said, what can I do? Or how can I contribute to peace? For me, this is the question I take with me. And I hope that you are also leaving this session with a few meaningful questions or insights that you got today from these 2 hours we spent together. Yeah, thank you so much. I welcome you to unmute yourself and say goodbye in your own mother tongue. Bye. For those of you who would like to stay with us and ask us something about the program we open in a month, I welcome you to stay. We will also send you some information over email. So if you're in a rush, that's also totally fine.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Many insights and learn.
Blessings to everyone.
Pleasure. Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Very beautiful.
Bye. Wonderful. Yes.
Thank you, Goni. Be safe.
Yeah, thank you.
Nadia, be
God
safe.
bless. Bye-bye.
Everyone, be safe.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, everyone from Nigeria.
Yes.
Thank you, Ngozi.
Go in peace.
Thank you, Katie. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Wonderful.
Mm. Thank you.
Can one get the recording?
Yeah, we will send the recording to each of you over email. So we have your emails because you got the link. You know, you signed up and you got the link. So we will follow up. It might take us. It usually takes us a few days, but we then share the recording with the participants and also with the people who are not able to show up to the live session and signed up.
I missed the topic because I came in very late.
Say it again.
I said I missed the section. I came in very late because
Okay.
of the celebration I had.
Yeah.
And as I was introducing myself, the network knocked me off. But I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngozi. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So thank you again, Nadia and Reena. And also, if you need to leave, please feel free to leave. I will stay here for a few more minutes to see if people would like to ask questions about our upcoming program. And you're also, of course, welcome to just stay with us if you want to hear. Yeah. Hannah is also here with us. And Hannah is also part of the NVC Rising team. And yeah, so I don't see anyone else from the program. But maybe I will say a few words, and then for those of you who would like to ask questions, we can answer. So the program will start in about 4 weeks from now, on December 2nd. It's called the Learning Community, and it's going to be the third time, or let's say the third cycle of this program that we started running at NVC Rising. NVC Rising was established when COVID started by a few of us, and we started creating online global festivals where many trainers from around the world were giving NVC sessions, and many people from around the world were attending the sessions. And then we decided we want to somehow move forward and create yearly programs where people will get a continuous opportunity to learn NVC and to practice NVC in community. And maybe what makes, I think, our programs quite unique is that we really try to create, or we emphasize diversity and inclusivity, and we learn it as we try to do it. It's not like we know everything about it, but we learn year by year or day by day. How can we ask ourselves, how can we make our programs more diverse in terms of who can take part in them, participants and trainers, and more inclusive to people from around the world, from different economies, from different backgrounds, from different levels of familiarity with NVC and so on. And also what we try to, I would say, promote is how NVC is not only this, tool for self-development. It is actually an approach that could speak to systemic change in the world and social change, revolutions. So this is what we also try to promote and question, and in our programs. Hannah, do you want to add something?
Not sure. I think you summarized it quite well. There's a lot to be said. We have many different trainers and many different topics and many different formats of how we come together in the group. We have like small home group circles. We have empathy buddies. We have empathy cafes and conflict cafes and trainer sessions. So we have many different ways of connecting and trying to create this kind of like a global community, bringing all this diversity together over using the technology basically, which is it's this kind of where we're trying to use the technology in a way to bring us closer with each other, and through experiencing the diversity with all the people in the group, and yet realizing we're all kind of human. So seeing kind of the common humanness in all of us. And that's very powerful. I felt in our previous courses to experience this with this community being together for 10 months. It can be quite intimate and moving. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Maybe I will give some numbers. We have around 25, maybe 22 trainer master classes, I will call them. Throughout the years, we have what we call in Hannah mentioned, I think, community meetings, as in Hannah said, conflict cafe, empathy cafe, that are also led by very experienced facilitators. And usually we have people, last time I think we had people participants coming from more than 40 or 50 countries around the world. I don't have the exact number, but something like this. So the group is quite diverse. And we will also have like a 1 hour Q&A session about the program in about 1 week from now. We will send it over email, and you can sign up, and you can also join this Q&A, question and answers 1 hour session. And maybe we take 10 more minutes to see if there are questions. For those of you who are here, that I assume you are here because you want to hear more, or maybe you just left your computer and you're still with us. But if you are here because you're really curious, so I welcome you to ask something that can bring more clarity. Nadia.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, and I'm going.
Okay.
A long day, then we can talk later, Goni.
Yes.
Not today, maybe tomorrow or another day.
Yeah, I think tomorrow.
A lot of gratitude.
Thank you, dear Nadia. Wow, so happy.
Good night.